racism. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. They hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1,500 US, and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Pleasant good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Over to You, a program by the people for the people. Ladies and gentlemen, we are deep in the election cycle. Exciting times, exciting times. Okay, change has to come. Change must come. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the program on this day, the 12th of July, 2025. What are we? Some approximately 15 days out from general and regional elections in Guyana. And yes, the intensity is ramping up. It is ramping up. Okay, it is ramping up. Good evening to you all. Please share the link, like the program, share the link, like the program. Over to you, a program for the people, by the people. This is your program. Okay, this is your program. I should be having a guest on in a few minutes. He's going to spend some time here with us, and then we shall continue on. All right. I know you guys seen that we're commencing the program at 7:30 p.m. this evening. That's being because we have a lot of other programs that is happening and it's on Bench Up Radio. You know, it's an election cycle, and, you know, the dynamics is changing. So one thing I could guarantee you is that every Saturday evening going forward, there is going to be an Over to You program, okay? It may not be guaranteed to start at 7:30 if there's another program in the loop at that time, all right? But we will be having a program. You will be seeing me here every Saturday evening, Good night, good night. Share the link, like the program. Share the link, like the program. Let me do the quick roll call. Yvonne Rodriguez, good evening. Welcome to the program. Patricia Graves-Zandi, welcome. Marlon Sandy, welcome, welcome. Puran Ramdas, Region, good night. Region 2 in the house, welcome. Puran Rastaman, good night. I see you there on screen. Mary Figueroa, Canada is in the house. Mavis Dave Wells, welcome. Shay Breda, welcome. Francine Cruz, welcome. You're on the screen and I'm looking at you right here too. Miss Rhonda Lane, welcome, welcome. Stay right here. Your name is going to call. Stay right here on the program tonight. I'm glad that you're here this evening. Golly God, welcome. Stephanie Pearson, welcome. Oren Paris, welcome. Eva, welcome. Winston Kilkenny, welcome. Carlisle Madhu, my brother, welcome. Shalom to you. Eva, welcome. Deborah Clark, welcome. Charlene Deuce, Tender, welcome. Miss Desiree Simons, welcome to the program. Diane Mitchell, Mary Figueroa, I called you before. Welcome. Rastaman, I got all of you. Claire Capel, welcome. Denise Booker, the Honorable Victor Ben, welcome. All right. If I didn't call your name, all right, please, I probably get to you at the end of the program. So true, Hector, I see you there also. All right. Let's welcome in the Honorable former member of Parliament, and that's just because Parliament has been prorogued, Mr. Viceroy Jordan. Viceroy, welcome over to you, sir.
Hi, good evening, Wayne, and thanks for having me again. Good evening to your listening and viewing audience. I'm happy to be here again.
And I'm glad you used again, because this is not your debut. You had a very impactful program on debut right here. And I believe that the audience will be looking for much more of the same. But, of course, we know that we're in the middle of the election cycle. We're preparing for nomination day on Monday. You know, the excitement is roaring right now. All right. The intensity is picking up. The battle is on. And let me first start off by congratulating you and the APNU team for a successful launch last Sunday. That was very, very impressive. Okay, I must say. So congratulations to you guys. Congrats is in line for you guys. Now, my first question to you, how is preparation going in anticipation of Monday and nomination day?
Well, as you know, we the APNU, one of the largest parties within the APNU is the People's National Congress Reform, and we are a very strong, well-matured political party. We've been at it for a number of elections, even before my being here on earth. And so the People's National Congress Reform has the expertise, the know-how, the ability to be prepared for an election, even if it is called, as some would say, snap upon you. We have that ability. And like our chief scrutineer would have said, when GCOM had the meeting with many of the elections, the parties that will be contesting this in the general and regional elections, we were prepared from then for nominations. And now that nominations has drawn closer, you would have seen that since last Sunday, rather Monday, we were out there in front of the Umanayana, ready to submit our list. You would have seen Michelle Smith Daniels having in her possession our list of candidates and our those nominators that would back those lists. And so we were prepared from ever long because we knew elections were coming. And on the ground, we have been mobilizing. I want to say to you very early, and again, thank you for recognizing that we would have pulled off a wonderful launch as a coalition. And I want to say that launch is a representation of the true man that we know as Aubrey Compton Norton, because he has been behind it, leading the way, and he has caused that launch and his team to be what it is today. I'm saying that so that persons can understand that it is him who has given the guidance and the ability within him to mobilize and to really let Guyanese understand and members of the party what he's all about. And it is him who drive home the actual success of the launch. But coming back to nominations day, we are prepared. Guyanese are fired up. Members of our party, supporters on the ground, here in Region 5, where I am doing most of my work because, of course, I'm here in Region 5 as campaign manager. But I can tell you across the country from reports that I have and we're having as a party, persons are excited to know who are those persons that will be on our list. They're excited to know who will be the regional representatives going on the list. They're excited to know that when we hand in that list, they can be there with us to stand and support and cheer on and give that level of support to let us know that, look, we are at it and we have people with us. And so it's a buzz of activities. The hype is on, as one of my comments said, it is electrifying at this point within the People's National Congress Reform and within the wider coalition, because we can feel Guyanese supporting us. We can see it. And when we go on the ground, they show the love, they show the support. And so we believe that nomination day will be one that we all need to look out for. It will be a spectacular moment for the coalition.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Viceroy. I believe that the people of Guyana understands that this is a crossroad election. And I believe that they still have that, not even I believe, they still have that sour taste in their mouth from what they would have experienced the last 5 years under the PPPC regime. Do you get that sense as you engage people on the ground that they are just fed up, they are just tired, and they are ready for that change?
Look, it is everywhere. And one of the things I want to say, the reason for the People's Progressive Party operating in the way they are, if you go into those PPP strongholds, you would recognize that the supporters of the PPP are fed up of them. And when it comes to the bitter taste, or you say sour taste, in the mouths of Guyanese, having went through what they went through in the 2020 elections and having seen the true rigors of that election and having lived through the past 5 years and experiencing the atrocities, the victimization, the injustices, they know now that they cannot make that mistake again. Because if they make that mistake, Guyanese know that it will be another 5 years of disaster for them. And Guyanese are considering now, Wayne, their children and their children's children, because they understand that every decision that they make not only affect their life and well-being, but it affects that of their children or their grandchildren. And so I've been around the ground, and many of our senior folks especially, what they are saying to us is that you, in local terms, y'all try and win this thing, because if we don't win it, we dead. And so they are behind us. They're talking to their children. They're pushing their grandchildren. I can remember one woman saying to me that she and her entire house, they will be there at the polls from the beginning, because she don't want to know that at any point in time, her vote is not counted to make a voice and a change in Guyana. And so Guyanese are fed up. The bitter taste has been there long enough. They know and they see the true rigors win. We have seen.
You're muted.
Forgive me.
Yes, go back through that, Viceroy. Go back through, what you were saying.
Yes, the laptop just gave me a little trick. I don't know what.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yes, we have seen, or rather Guyanese, I want to make it general. Guyanese have seen what the PPP has done over the 5 years. And they have, I was saying, they have seen the true rigors at the last general and regional election. It was the first time in recent history, and for many who would understand, of us going into the ballot boxes and seeing what actually are in the ballot boxes and understanding how and what are the contents, and what are some of the irregularities and illegalities that would have taken place in that election. And we saw dead people voting. We saw persons voting without oaths of identity. We saw persons who were overseas at the time of the election and have their names being strike off and being recorded as voting. We saw boxes without any statutory documentation, 49 such or 47 such. We
47, yes.
Pardon.
No, 47, you're correct, Kingsroy.
47. We saw throughout the length and breadth of Guyana illegalities of all nature. And we know that the People's Progressive Party are the true riggers. And so Guyanese are now prepared not only to vote and prepared to cause a change in this country, but they are prepared to stand up and look out and be the true guardians of democracy, not like the ones that we had 5 years ago, because they know for a fact what had happened. They know what they went through the last 5 years, and they are prepared to make a positive decision. And that includes members of the People's Progressive Party community, the community that so support them, that they so claim belongs to them. That is why I label it as that. But slowly, they are seeing members within those communities are slipping away from them. And because that is happening, they are running scared. And they have done enough injustice. And they have done enough with corruption. When you speak about the friends, families, and favorites, the People's Progressive Party Civic has done more harm to themselves in their own communities and support base than we can ever tell to them, because they feel and they know when it comes to the corruption with the cash grant, when it comes to corruption with contracts, when it comes to corruption with who gets what at what level, they have seen it all. And so this election,
don't forget the COVID cash grant also, with people still having those pink slips still. Now we're in 2025 and people still have pink slips, you know?
Still awaiting. And so I believe that we always say at every election that it is the mother of all elections. But I believe this indeed is the mother of all elections, because it will be an election where we have never had social media presence at this magnitude, this level. Oh yes, we had in 2020, but from 2020 to now, the presence of social media, from 2020 to now, the widespread aspect of the reach of internet and the access to social media within our hinterlands. They cannot be fooling our indigenous brothers and sisters any longer. We were in Region 9 in the Rupununi, and what one young man told us, he said once In the Ring program comes on at 8 o'clock, the Tusha would turn off the internet connection from the ICT hub, and so they cannot look at In the Ring. He said because they don't want them to be aware of the things that are happening. But thanks to God that In the Ring is played live or aired live at 8 o'clock, but it has its recording live and replaying that you can go back to it. So those are some of the things that they can't fool Guyanese now. Guyanese are seeing, they're living, and they're feeling it. When we go back to what greeted us as a PPP government, the first act that the PPP did was to start killing our young Guyanese sons and daughters. And to the end, they're still killing them. We know from September of 2020, they killed under the PPP Harry Singh and Isaiah and Joel Henry. All three of them died as a result of the People's Progressive Party. And up until now, we are still marking and counting deaths and unsolved crimes under the hands of the PPP And we know of Adriana, who recently died and was murdered, rather.
Yes. Yes. Well said. So and you're on point with that. From the time the PPPC would have inherited office in 2020, we had the gruesome murders of Isaiah and Joel Henry, followed by Harish Singh. And the then installed president, he came forward before on the pulpit, before the microphones, and said he would leave no stone unturned. Well, I don't even believe that one stone was turned. To be honest, I don't believe that one stone was turned. And to know that now, which is something that I'm going to address later on the program, to know that now that the Guyana Police Force is calling in for training from U.S. agencies, right, from law enforcement on the U.S. side, it's really, really interesting to know that they didn't reach out and ask the FBI or ask Scotland Yard or ask some credible investigative team to really come in and look at the Isaiah and Joel Henry's murder, Harish Singh's murder, and they didn't do the same for Adriana Young. So it's pretty consistent, how law enforcement in Guyana operates. And to hear that the installed president would have talked about security for Guyanese, and these things would have happened, and they're all sitting there unsolved. They're not going to go cold, because I am trusting that when you guys get into office, that these cases will be open and investigated to the fullest, whether it requires calling in the FBI or whatever it takes, because I believe that these families deserve some measure of closure. Your thoughts on that?
Well, let me start with them calling in or seeking through the U.S. Embassy, as I would have heard from the ambassador. The PPP only operate when something would benefit them or when it interests them. They have nothing to hide and cover up here with them bringing specialists to train and work with the guy in the police force, because it's just a routine training at elections time that would require some amount of intelligence and so on. But when we come to the crimes and the illegalities, those murders and other corrupt acts under the PP, they will not call in or write to the U.S. Embassy. Point I'm making, Adriana Young, the family requested, the very U.S. ambassador said it will only take a simple request of Irfan Ali to the U.S. Embassy, and they will facilitate. The FBI, they will facilitate whatever they are needed, they will facilitate it. They will not do that because they are covering up and holding for their friends and their families who are murderers in this country. The same is true for Joel and Isaiah, the person or persons who are implicated in the murder, gruesome murder of Joel and Isaiah. They are closely connected to the People's Progressive Party. They are embedded in the party, and once they would invite any foreign investigator, they know that they cannot instruct them as they have done over the past 5 years with the present Guyana Police Force. And so they would not want them to come in. We made requests. I could remember we called for an international investigation. We called for the FBI. We called for Scotland Yard. We called for so many things. All that they did was to bring this regional security system, RSS.
RSS, yes.
And when RSS came, I want to remind Guyanese, RSS came to do just like they did with the Adriana and the Linden Fortuny and others, the matter. They prepared a report, and to date, you have no actions from the report. But my point here again is that the report was prepared based on intelligence from the very incompetent, corrupt Guyana Police Force. So what then is the RSS really doing? We need independent, specialized detectives and investigators to come to deal with these matters. And the leader of the PNC and the chairman of the APN would have already said at the campaign launch that when we take office on the 2nd of September after the election on the 1st, that we will ensure that there's an international investigation or an investigative team that is put together to investigate and properly probe what transpired, what led to the murder of Adriana Young, and everything that they're trying to cover up at this point in time. Of course, we will have to get rid of Clifton Hickins first and foremost.
Oh yes, that should be forthwith. That should be forthwith.
To get rid of Clifton Hickins, because under the Guyana police, under Clifton Hickins, we have seen the worst Guyana police force. We have seen the most incompetent and corrupt force. And this is not all the police, you know. This is for some specific, and they know themselves when we speak about rogue elements, corrupt and incompetent elements within the Guyana police force. They know themselves. We cannot trust Wendell Blanham to work with any team to investigate Adriana's death when they would have already, or murder I should say, when they have already spoken and try to pour cold water on that entire case. We cannot trust Clifton Hickins. We cannot trust any of those that are at the helm that we deem as corrupt and incompetent. We will not be relying on them. And so Guyanese must take note now that this is the position of the coalition. Mr. Norton, the presidential candidate, has already said it. We will have an international probe. And as representative of the families in Region 5, and for the Henry Cousins and Harry Singh, let me just, I never said it on your program here, Wayne. Let me just let Guyanese know and understand the level of hurt and pain that we went through here and are still going through in Region 5. At the hand of the People's Progressive Party Civic, those 3 young men were murdered, brutally murdered. At the hands of the People's Progressive Party Civic and this incompetent Guyana police force, all, and I say all, the caretakers for the family died. The mother of Joel, the mother of Isaiah, and the grandmother of Harry Singh, without justice. To her dying bed, Harry Singh's grandmother cried for justice. On her dying bed, in sickness, in grief, in hurt and pain, she couldn't understand how that had happened. And on their dying beds, I can tell you, because I was there when Simonette passed, that Isaiah's mother, she went to the court. This government locked up the son, the older brother of Isaiah. They locked up the older brother of Joel. So the family lost the mothers, they lost siblings. And it is only at the hand of such a cruel and wicked regime that these things can happen. And so I'm saying this to say that I will ensure, as representative of the people of Region Number 5, and more so the families of the Henry and Harry Singh, the Henry Cousins and Harry Singh, that I will press the new administration led by Aubrey Norton to ensure that we reopen the case and that we get to the bottom of what transpired on September the 6th, I think it was, 2020, when those bodies were found. You know, I feel it to this day. It was a Sunday afternoon when we discovered those bodies. Chill as I could. I stood and I couldn't move. I was speechless. I was motionless because I never experienced such a thing in my life until I saw what I saw on that day.
Yes, and the way they were killed was quite concerning. You know, the way those young men were killed, those two cousins was quite concerning. But like you said, Vince Roy, under the coalition government, that case would be reopened, and it's good to know, because I believe both fathers are still alive, and of course they have brothers and cousins and other family members that would like to bring about some measure of closure there. So lots of work on the law enforcement front for a new government. Yes, and getting rid of the current police commissioner. Yes, I would do that within the first hour being in government. I would ask him to hand in his resignation.
Yes, he should.
Since the Adriana Young tragedy, that man has not had one press conference. Okay, he has not held one press conference. That's to show the level of incompetence and dereliction of duty on behalf of the person who's supposed to be the head of the Guyana police force. So you just have to picture what's trickling down to the other officers within the force. But again, Vince Roy, I want to quickly pivot back to the launch that you guys would have had, to see that massive crowd. And you know what, I was warned before. I said, Wayne, here comes the mass party. You're going to see a massive crowd. This is where you're going to get to see a lot of people. And it was true. And you guys done it, exceptionally well. You did not weaponize and bully the 10-day workers to come out there and put on green shirts and all these type of things. You did not offer $50,000 to everyone who showed up out there. The people came of their own free will. The people of Guyana have proven that they are seeing green and that they are ready for change in their nation. So that should bring a level of confidence in the APNU circle. Okay, how are you guys? How is it going from a party perspective, APNU? How is the energy within the party? Tell me a little bit about that. And before you go into that, I know you spoke of chief scrutineer. I just want to mention the name. Is that the Honorable Miss Carol Joseph?
Yes, Miss Carol Smith Joseph.
Miss Carol Smith Joseph. Okay, I just wanted to get clarity to that. Her name need to call the chief scrutineer. She's going to have all the scrutineers trained and ready for the APNU to have a successful 1st of September. But Vince Roy, if you can go into what I was just asking, the energy within the party hierarchy.
Well, I can tell you, Wayne, one of the first things we have proven, because social media, many persons said, Obi Norton will be standing alone. And by the time those who are jumping ship are finished with Obi Norton, he's there alone and he'll be all by himself. Well, I am proud to be a part of that standing alone, because if that is how it looks like standing alone, I want to be standing alone all the time. Or we want to be standing alone. Because I can tell you, Wayne, Aubrey Compton Norton has around him, and this is to explain the level of hype and energy that we are now having out of that launch. We have seen that not only the members within the party, but our support base has been energized. There was some sort of electric movement that people begin to call your messages. Let me tell you, Messenger went off the hook. WhatsApp went off the hook. You just get messages coming in, and people were like, "What? Is it our crowd? Is it true? Is it?" And they wanted to know, like, look, how come I didn't? I should have been there. And the energy just started to flow. And so from that, we see people start to take the streets with us. And we're reaching out. We're knocking on every door. If you recognize in Region 5, Region 6, Region 9, Region 1, every single region, Georgetown, East Bank, we are knocking on doors. That is what the launch has caused. I mean, we have been knocking before, but there has been a new level of energy since the launch, because people recognize that, look, what people are actually saying or trying to portray this party as a dead party and this coalition as a dead coalition and Aubrey Norton as a weak leader. They've seen all these people, thousands of people come to surround this very man. And so Guyanese recognized from that night that, look, we understand, or they understand what this movement is all about. They understand what this people-centered development strategy will bring to them. And they understand by putting a voice through their votes what that will mean for Guyana after the 2nd of September, or rather the 1st of September. And so Guyanese have now joined the force. And to tell you, our party, it has been a buzz, a hype of activities. Congress Place has come alive. You cannot go to Congress Place and sit there for more than 2 minutes without seeing a number of vehicles coming in and people coming to find out when I can get my green jersey, when I can get my jersey, where I can get, and they just want to know that they will be a part of what we're having. And so when people see that crowd, or when they would have seen that crowd, I want them to understand and know that that crowd was a true reflection of people wanting to be a part of something freely, out of their own will. Nobody forced them. Nobody in that crowd was waiting to know how fast we gonna finish so that they can go home back because they were forced. Nobody in that crowd had a screw face because they said, look, I come here because, and I didn't want to be here. I'm really and truly a part of the red team. I don't know why they bring me to this green team. That was not the case. Everybody that came there, they came because they love to be a part of it. And I want to also let you know that a number of public servants reach out to us across the country and they express how difficult it is for them to be seen and be numbered among us. I want to say this tonight, Wayne, because people is here, they don't hear first bell, but it is here last bell, and it is here the second bell and the third bell. When the coalition government was in office, we did not deprive public servants and Guyanese as a whole from supporting whichever political party they wanted. And we are taking names of those permanent secretaries, and we are taking names of those heads of departments, because yes, the public servants are saying to us, some of you who are telling them, and those REOs who are telling our people that if they only see them, what they will do and not do to them. But they must know that time is coming. Don't bully our public servants. Stop bullying the 10-day workers. Stop bullying our nurses. They even sent to the nurses at the hospitals to tell them they cannot leave and they cannot do this and they cannot do that if they're seen among the coalition. We have the reports.
Vinceroy, I want to add a little to that, because when people see someone of your stature, a former member of parliament, speaking and explaining these things, sometimes, they come with the belief that, he is just trying to promote a narrative for his party. Well, I am going to state here right now, and I'm going to say that is absolutely not the case. I support what you just said 100%. You know why? Because I have received those calls. I have received those same calls from people saying they cannot be seen wearing any green. They cannot be seen at any of those functions whatsoever. Any type of protest, action, anything. They cannot be seen there. Their purpose is only to work. They don't have a life of their own. They don't have a party. They cannot have a party persuasion, a party that they like outside of the party that they work for, which is the PPPC. So you're absolutely 100% correct with what you're saying. And in that case, we can look and we can say that this government is operating behind the framework of democracy. But Guyana is absolutely not a functioning democracy. If people do not have the right to align themselves with whichever party they would like to align themselves with, whichever party that is addressing the issues, the pressing issues that are concerning, them and their families. But Viceroy, I wanna quickly pivot, as you guys, the launch was excellent. But here what was also very good about that launch, man, you guys really laid down some policies that night, man. You guys laid down some exceptional policies that night. Is it unmatched policies that even the PPP is trying to cut off from you guys? And I say this, a lot of the things that the small parties are saying is kind of like, fluff to what you guys would have already put out there. So they are like-minded and they're thinking like you guys are thinking. So 2 questions. Elaborate on your policies. And the other question, do you think that they can be a 24th hour situation where some of those parties come under the APNU banner? Because we have a few hours remaining before nomination day on Monday. Do you think there's any possibility that, other parties decide to, join under the APNU banner? Those are my questions to you.
I was trying to find one of Newsroom's report. I have a screenshot somewhere where they are saying that at the launch, tomorrow's launch, the People's Progressive Party civic launch, they will be rolling out people-centered, people something. But I can't find the exact wording. But I was shocked to see that the PPP is now headlining with people-centered and people-focused policies and all of that, initiatives that they will come. But I'll find it and I'll share it with you. You can probably put it on a page or something. But yes, Newsroom had it. But coming home to our policies, or rather I should answer quickly whether the other small parties.
Yes.
But I would want to say, as my personal view, I believe that there is still time, there is still room, there is still an opportunity, as the leader of the opposition has always said. The door is open, or rather I should say a presidential candidate, the door is open. I would also say that our parties, the small parties and those generally in the opposition, should work in the best interest of all Guyanese. And what we know, what we should do is what we know will totally eradicate the People's Progressive Party civic from office. And so I believe firmly in that position. But God knows that even if it doesn't go in that way, I'm saying to us, Wayne, Guyanese, you have a choice. And that choice is to support the only mass-based political movement that can unseat the People's Progressive Party civic at this time, at this very shot, because we believe and we know that they have done enough to defeat themselves. And so I say to you, vote for the APNU coalition. That apart, we have laid out at our launch rather, some policies that we have been championing for almost 2 years, because the leader of the opposition, Mr. Norton, in his budget remarks, I think it was in 2022, 2021, thereabout, or 23, he spoke about a people-centered development strategy. And it is out of that strategy that we formulated policies that will fit or go in line with ensuring that we meet the needs of our people, that we put our people first, and that in all that we do in government, as our policies and plans that we have laid out, that they will ensure that our people will have a better life. And so I can start with our seniors. When we talk about our seniors, we don't want them to have to be pensioners that will pay light bill, water bill, and phone bill and have nothing at the end of the month. And so we have said that we will increase our old age pension for our senior citizen government pension to $100,000 per month. We can do that because the resources are available. Jagdeo touted the other day that, it is not practicable, it is not sustainable. But the leader has shown that when you put that $400 billion together, that we can achieve what we're talking about. We look at our public servants and we said that we want to see them have a livable income. They must have, at the end of the month, a salary that when they go home, they are comfortable budgeting, going to the supermarket, going to the grocery shops, going to the vegetables and meat stalls, purchasing, paying their utilities, and still come home, have a saving, and can send their children to school and sustain themselves for the month. And so we said very early, we are going to give to public servants, and this is the president himself, Mr. Norton, will do at the stroke or with the stroke of a pen once he gets into office that very morning of the 2nd of September. When he gets into the office, he will sign and ensure that the 35% increase is given to our public servants. We have also said that they will no longer be paying PAYE taxes on their or from their salaries once they're earning less than $400,000. We have also said that we will provide for our temporary staff, or those 10 days workers, as they call them now, not permanent, but those that are temporary workers. We will increase that $40,000 to $50,000, but we will provide training and we will gradually move them into the permanent system where they will become commissioned staff of the public service, and they will be able to have their pension, they will be able to have their NIS contribution and all of that done so that they can have a safe and secured employment. We have also said, and this we have laid out very early, that we will provide for our children going to school hot meals. We will provide for our children going to school books and those national transportation system that will ensure that they are taken to and from school. We have said that we will continue the children cash grant, as Guyanese would know it as, but it will be something that is more structured, and we're taking that to $120,000 per year because, again, the resources are there. We have said that our small and medium scale business entrepreneurs, farmers, those who fall within that category, we will provide grants for them. We will ensure that they not only start up, but that they can graduate from small to medium and from medium to large. So especially those in the agriculture sector and those in the business sector, that they will be able to blossom or bloom wherever they are applying their trade. And so there is room for every single Guyanese under the coalition. We have long said also that we are prepared to ensure that our young men and women out of school, whether it be in TVET, whether it be in the University of Guyana, any tertiary institution that they're going to, we have spoken about our 50-50 program. We will pay them $50,000, and 50,000 of our youth will be trained to in a skill of having a first degree, going into different areas that they can acquire certification or necessary qualifications to move themselves forward. And so the coalition is prepared to do just that. We have also said that Gaisuko, which we have, and we've seen over the years that the PPP has failed to do anything proper with Gaisuko, that we will diversify Gaisuko, not having it rely on sugar alone, but we will look at aquaculture, aquaponics, and we will also look at having our workers, those at Gaisuko, trained in construction and other like masonry, carpentry, plumbing. Look, I can say to you, Wayne, I am a product of the Gaisuko Training Center, and that is a technical institution. I went there for 2 years, and then we had 2 additional years in plant training. I served at the Blaymont Estate. I worked at the Albion Estate, the Rosal Estate. I spent a little time at Iflot Estate, and also at that failure of a skeleton that Jack Joe built. Nevertheless,
the white elephant. Okay.
The white elephant. But I'm saying that we will diversify. We will make Gaisuko not rely on sugar alone, but have these other areas of diversification, so that Guyanese will have continued job. Those on Gaisuko, the jobs will be secured. We will then move the cooperation, having more skills within the workforce, and then see them building houses and so on for Guyanese, and that will take some of the pressure off of the coffers of the nation, and so that Gaisuko can in some way make a profit from all the levels of diversification and be able to run that entity as it, as it should be. We can train those very men, young men and women at the Gaisuko Training Center, and that is one of the things I intend to look at and see that it is properly reformed, it is properly structured, so that when you go there, you do. At present, they have, well, I know from when I was there, electrical, mechanics, welding, plumbing. You do all those basic trainings, but we instrumentation, but we fitting and machining is another one. But we want to see that you can expand and you can do some of the other training. We can also partner with the technical institutes and have some of the training done. But the bottom line is that these are some of the policies, and we have already started laying out some of the programs that will cause this to happen, and the projects that will see or make it a reality. And so the coalition,
I think one of the things that you guys had out there too that's going to make this a reality, which I totally agree with, is, managing the wealth, managing the oil wealth amongst other wealth better in Guyana when it comes to gold. Not having the gold smuggled out of the country, but having it reported accurately, and all these. These are major boosters to the economy. Revisiting bauxite, looking at all the contracts, looking at who is there dealing with the bauxite, These are important things. And once you do that, and then also, Viceroy, eliminating the corruption, because there's where a lot of money is being lost within the whole corrupt scheme of the PPP. When you are able to recapture that type of money and have that money, and then also, Viceroy, putting together a balanced budget that has the necessary fiscal head for you to deal with the people's projects, for you guys to be so people-centric and deal with the people. But here is what Barry Jagdeo had to say about Aubrey Norton's plans. Okay, and this was a promise. This is not just Aubrey Norton putting out policy. He promised these things to the people. Okay, guaranteeing all households have a livable income. Okay, bringing down inflation and rising cost of living. He also wants to control and reduce poverty. 53% of Guyanese is living in poverty. How can you argue with a man for trying to reduce poverty in a country. But here is what the governing PPP had to say. They totally dismiss his stance and they call it unrealistic. I mean, when you're going to do that, when it takes people to go to the polls and actually vote you into government, I believe when you would make such a statement, you have eliminated yourself from the process. But let's see how the Guyanese people react to something like that. What do you say to what the PPP have to say about those policies being unrealistic? I believe that they're more than realistic.
Look, we have carefully studied, and this is the thing that PPP doesn't like to hear about, what we will do. So when it comes to the programs and the policies in place to reduce poverty, to give in every household a livable income, to ensure that we continue cash transfer as we would have so spoken about, we have already studied. We have competent economists who would have laid out, understood how we can meet or achieve these and ensure that you have a balanced budget at the end of the year, and that we do not run the country into any form of deficit, or we will ensure that is at all time something that is managed. And what we have already put out is clearly not yet half of what the People's Progressive Party would have spent in the last budget. And so we showed them in all that they're saying, we want to reduce poverty, which is somewhere within 35 to 42% of the country. That is within the $400 billion that we spoke about. We want to ensure that Guyanese can have a livable income. That is within the $400 billion. And so we are saying that it is sustainable. It is already well thought out. It will not affect the budgeting and the income from oil and gas, because that is what he run out to say, that if the oil prices drop, what is going to happen? You cannot sustain it. You cannot. When we cut out half of the spending that they did on some of the things, you name it, the infrastructure budget that went to corruption, half of it alone will be able to do what we want to do, because corruption has taken a big toll. One economist said quite recently that almost 40% of the infrastructure budget is going towards corruption, almost. So you look at that, the monies are allocated, and they have contracts that are projects that are overvalued. They have projects that are going back into the hands of their friends, their families, and they rob the Guyanese people of what they should really have. And so when we cut out all of that, we will have enough money to meet reducing poverty, a livable income for Guyanese, and also paying our public servants what they need to have.
And you should still have money left back after that. We're talking about a population of less than a million people. About I say about 800,000 now. I was checking the indexes. It's about 800,000 now. We got to keep in mind that we have an influx of Venezuelans that are in the country right now. Question for you, Vintroy, when it relates to elections, how confident are you in the Guyana Elections Commission?
Well, when I must see, I have no confidence in the Guyana Elections Commission.
Thank you. Great.
I have no confidence. If that answers the question, I need not to explain, but
right.
I have no
great answer.
So, I mean, no confidence.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. But I'm gonna say something here, Vince Roy, and this is something that I have been thinking about, and this is something that continues to bother me. With the law enforcement coming into the country to do training, if you're gonna come in to do training in Guyana, My question would be, why now? Okay, I'm concerned as to why now? Why at this time? Why could it not be at an earlier time? And I'll tell you this. With law enforcement coming from external sources into Guyana to give training, it means a couple of things to me. Okay, one thing can be very positive, to oversee, to help with the oversight of the elections, to have the Ghana police force trained to help with the oversight of the elections, to make sure that everything is fair. Okay, but on the other hand, we are dealing with a list, okay, that should have been redone. All right, you had who do I have? I have the EU, I have the ABC, I have CARICOM, I have the Carter Center, I have Maya Motley, I have Ralph Gonzalez. All of these people were here in Guyana to do the electoral oversight. Okay, and after we would have come up with so much discrepancies after the elections and the recount and everything else, the EU would have set out instructions as to what GCOM needs to do to make sure that going forward elections are free and fair. Okay, there's no biometrics in place, there's no new voters list in place. All right, sometimes I want to think, Vince Roy, that the opposition may have missed it a little bit, because here's where I am thinking. Here's what I am thinking. I am thinking that the PPP will rig the 2025 elections. But unlike the opposition, they will go and they will have Irfan Ali sworn in. Yes, Jack Dio, I understand what's happening. They'll have Irfan Ali sworn in, and then they'll send you guys to petitions to go and petition it. I just want to put you guys, I just want to put this in your thoughts as an opposition, that, you must make sure that this doesn't happen. How you do it, I can't tell you. Okay, but that has been bothering me. And why they're going to have these additional law enforcement people in place is that the response of the Guyanese people, you understand me, may not be the response that they're expecting. It can destabilize the nation. They have their investors, they have all the investors that they are dealing with. Okay, because like I would have said in earlier programs, the government does not engage the opposition. So the government is basically in charge of everything and understands everything that is happening from an investment perspective. Yes, the opposition is purview to some things, but more so everything is controlled by the PPP. And investors will not be attracted to a country that is not stabilized. Okay, so that is concerning me, and I think that that's something that you guys should take into your war room and consider. The PPP is not like the coalition of 2020. They will make sure that they rush Irfan Ali down and swear him in and claim that they would have won the election if they were able to rig an election outside of government. They are now sitting there. Let's think about the degree that list may have been manipulated. Let's think about the 100,000 Venezuelans that would have come in to Guyana. Let's think about how the PPP is working the indigenous people. Let's think about how they are bullying the 10-day workers and others. Let's think about probably what's going to happen on September 1st. Where you're probably going to have sheriff security and all these different security out there intimidating the people. That's why I would have called on the people and I say, look, you guys make sure as you go to vote, you go out in your numbers. And I hope that the opposition would have people along the roadways guiding the people, encouraging them, making sure that they are safe. I mean, I have said a lot there, Vince Roy, but you can dissect it however.
All right,
but
I want to say this. I want to say this. I hear you on those concerns with regards to GCOM. I hear you on the plans that you think PP will be working on. I would say that PPP has mastered the art of rigging elections from since 2006. This is my view. From since 2006, they have mastered. They have been rigging before, and they have mastered it from there. But what I will also say is that we have got to be vigilant. We have been strategizing, and we will continue to strategize. Some of our preparations are that which we can only say within our closed doors, and we will also have our agents who will be, for want of a better word, watching and scrutinizing the daily proceedings of the election, as the observers would also do. But we will have our own agents. We will also have our field workers. But I am saying to Guyanese now that we are all watchmen and women of this general and regional elections. The party or parties that are involved will do what is necessary politically to ensure that we protect your ballot and protect the results of these elections. And because we will do that, we ask you to go further to ensure that when you vote, and also see to it that your vote is counted by just being there to watch and stand guard and support with us, and ensure that when it is counted, that when Aubrey Norton is declared president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, that he be sworn in as president, and then we can move Guyana forward. So I'll say that much on that note. And I believe that with our plans, as my brother Sherrod would normally say, Aubrey got hold his cards close to his chest. And so some things we have to hold close to our chest. But if Barrett Jack Dio and the People's Progressive Party feel that this is 2020 Wayne, I want to send them notice and warning that we are prepared and ready for them, so they can come with the nonsense of 2020. Because fresh in our minds, we are remembering some of the things that they did. Another program, we will detail some of those. But Guyanese must remember who stoned school buses. Guyanese must remember who attacked our policemen and women in uniform. And Guyanese must remember who tried to destabilize this nation on March the 6th. And those are the same people masqueraded in office and trying to tell us that they are the true champions of democracy. Democracy is not just winning an election by whatever foul or unfair means that you claim victory from. Democracy is serving the people and them having a voice and having equal rights and equity to what is happening, the pie in the country of what is there to be shared. And so I want to say to them on the note of elections, especially Barra Jagdeo, that we will not be bullied by Barra Jagdeo.
I like that response. That response was emphatic. Okay. Look, on a personal note, I am of the belief that the PPPC cannot win an election in Guyana right now. They are not capable of winning an election in Guyana. The only way that the PPP can stay in power is by rigging an election along with the Guyana Elections Commission and going against the will of the Guyanese people. And to all external forces, whether it be the United States, Guyana has nothing to do with United States or elections in the United States of America. They have no say whatsoever. Okay? If you're going to have a say in the Guyana electoral process, let it be a process, let it be a say, or if you're going to be a part of the process, let it be a process whereby you allow the people to demonstrate, okay, their democratic right and to vote for the government that they want in power, not the government that you may want in power because you may have information on a lot of the leaders within that government and you can force them to do certain things. You see, that's what I've been saying to the Guyanese people. It is very important that when you elect leaders, that you vet them properly, make sure that you elect leaders that have the necessary competencies, that has the necessary character, that has a moral compass, that has an economic compass, that knows and have you at heart and the country at large at heart, is ready to manage your wealth. Okay, these things are important if you want to be successful as a nation. And I believe that Aubrey C. Norton possesses all those competencies along with others. And not to say, Vince Roy, you guys have a very, very, very good, excellent prime ministerial candidate also. Very smart, very knowledgeable. Okay, fits the description. Wife, mother, sister, family person, well articulated, very well educated, have a great education portfolio. Okay, a real education portfolio, not something that was built up or made up. Okay, it's nice when you have that, things that are authentic. Okay, the leader of the opposition has in the past been a professor. He is known as one of Guyana's better political scientists, and I believe that has come to the forefront here with his strategic plans. It has really come to the forefront here. The guy is playing cards, and I can't even keep up with him sometimes. So, look, you guys are in a very good position here, Vince Roy. I am going to now ask you for your closing remarks, and I'm going to say to my audience, we will be here until 9 o'clock, but I'll ask you for your closing remarks tonight, Mr. Jordan, and thank you for coming on.
Look, thank you, Wayne. I want to just echo around the sentiments that you would have just made mention of with regards to our prime ministerial candidate and our presidential candidate. I would want to say that Jurita fits well, excellent into that position as prime ministerial candidate. She has long been one of my close friends within the National Assembly and within our politics, party politics and all that. One of because for a fact that she is young, we're young alike. She's indigenous. She's educated, and the mere fact that Jurita is someone who understands what it is like to come from where a large percentage of our Guyanese have come, brothers and sisters have come from. I believe with that background that she would be able to really treat and really reach out to Guyanese from the office of a prime minister. I believe that she's fitting in every aspect for that job, and I give her 100% support, 100% support for that job. Well, my leader, Mr. Aubrey Compton Norton, I want to say take a minute to speak to my young brothers and sisters in Guyana. When you look at Mr. Norton, there are many who doesn't know that Mr. Norton is as qualified as he is. And I'll tell you this. I've been speaking with, over the years, I've been speaking with some young people. And some of them ask, but how people say this man has no qualification and this man this and this man that. And when you begin to lay out to them how he acquired his first degree, he would have studied abroad both in Cuba and in London. How he arrived at having a master's degree. How he went to the University of Guyana and lectured to many of our young professionals and seniors who we have in leading roles in Guyana today. They then understand who Aubrey Norton really is. But But I'm saying that so that you can understand. When I came into contact with Mr. Norton, having seen him around in the party and being under his guidance, he does the same that would have been that he would have had in life, the opportunities and what he would have gone through. He does the same for you as a young person around him. He ensures that you have a good education. If you come and into contact with Mr. Norton and he doesn't push you to further yourself in education, something is definitely wrong with that moment and that you meet him. He ensures that. I want to say to young people, Mr. Norton, he is a man that really looks out for young people. He has it within his heart, within everything that he does. He breathes it. He demonstrates it in every aspect, in his planning, in his leadership of the party, of the coalition. You'll see more in his list of candidates. He just loves the presence and the operation of young people. And so I want to say to Guyanese, my brothers and sisters, the young ones, Mr. Norton has a plan for you under the coalition government, the next APNU coalition government. And I want to say to you, like many of us are rallying around him today, join the bandwagon. Don't be fooled. Don't be led astray. Your life will be developed under his presidency. And I say to you, let us vote and support Mr. Norton. Let us vote and support Jurity Finance. Let us vote and support the list that the coalition will be bringing come Monday. We'll be presenting to GCOM when it's nomination day. And we will together see a better Guyana with a people-centered focus that will drive Guyana forward and will change the life of every single Guyanese. As we would have said, that our plans and our policies and our programs, they cater for every Guyanese from birth to death. And so I want to ensure that I say to Guyanese tonight, let us support the coalition at these elections. Don't be carried away by those who are coming to you with the other messages. The PPP has been there for many years, 27 and 5, and they have done nothing but enrich themselves, and now they have graduated to friends, families, and their favorites. And there are some others who are coming along to say what they think should be best for Guyana. But it is only the APNU coalition that has the best or the better plan for you as Guyanese. And so I say to you, when you go to vote on September the 1st, vote APNU.
And make sure that your X is within that box. On that note, Mr. Jordan, thank you. The young, vibrant, passionate, well-articulated, and educated Viceroy Jordan. Thank you so much for coming on today, my brother.
Thank you, too, Wayne.
All right. Thank
Have
you.
a wonderful evening.
You do the same, my brother. You and your family. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So there you had it. The young and vibrant Viceroy Jordan from the PNC and by extension, the APNU. And I am of the belief that that old empty red cup will be kicked down the streets come September 1st. But I may also say there have been some movement on the ground by the Purple Party, which I call the Forward Guyana Movement, which is the Forward Guyana Movement. There have been some, movement on the ground from that party with the Honorable Apostle Nigel London, the Honorable Amanzo Walton this year, and Mr. Darwin Best. Okay, they have been on the move also. And I'm going to just say this. If, you guys on the ground speaking to anyone and they're saying, oh, under no circumstances, I am not voting green, encourage them to vote green. And if it is the case, okay, that they are not going to vote green, have them vote purple. Have them vote purple. We also have the Simona Brooms Party, okay, the ALP. All right, that's another option for them. But hey, everybody wants to be under the big green banner. All right, and that's the direction I believe that most people are going to go. But don't forget that there are other small options out there. Also, the AFC is still out there. You know, the AFC is still out there. And one thing I want to say before I leave, okay, the Umaniana today, I saw, you know, the exchange between the Chronicle reporters and the Guyanese critic and, you know, the Honorable Simona Brooms, Nigel Hughes, and Amanzo Walton this year. First thing I would say to that, I am not in favor of those honorable individuals fielding questions from critic. Okay, a man who gets on his program in the morning and curse and call Guyanese hungry belly. Okay, and the Chronicle, a paper that has been so favorable to the PPPC. I could understand if a Gordon Mosley or a Travis Chase was down there, or Adam Harris, you know, or even the Honorable Sherrod Duncan interviewing his comrades. But to have the critic there, I don't know if I agree with that. On another note, our brother Kidaki Amsterdam would have celebrated his birthday today. I want to personally, on behalf of all the listeners and viewers here on Over to You, wish the Honorable Kidaki Amsterdam a happy birthday. Blessings to you, brother. Long life, good health, and continue your push with your program and the initiatives of the WPA. On my next program, I would like to address the WPA faction of APNU. Okay, that's what I'll be addressing the next time around on my program. Also, there's a young lady missing, Brianna Peters, missing young lady. This has been a consistent thing in Guyana. Okay, if anybody sees Brianna Peters, please call 693-7535. We need to stop. We need to stop having our children missing all the time, okay? Stay home, kids. Stay home. Respect your parents. Stay home. And for parents, charity begins at home. We have to show these children interest. I know a lot of these parents are poor, and some of them are forced to work 2 jobs or forced to work a job and sell newspaper and do whatever else to bring in ends meet, you know, to make sure that the bills can be covered at the end of the month and stuff like that. Children, you need to understand the struggles that your parents are facing, okay? And support your parents, respect your parents, okay? Because one day you're going to grow up, you're going to evolve into an adult, and you will see how hard it really is to run a home. I have experienced it. You know, sometimes I used to take things for granted with my parents, but now being an adult and running your own home, you see how challenging it can be at times. My brothers and sisters, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in and allowing Bench Up Radio 107.1 FM into your homes this Saturday evening. Until next Saturday, I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys to the moon and back. Until next Saturday, over to you, and good night.
there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a...
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cup, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.